What's going on, everybody? I'm VRlad and you're officially part of the VR army. The Oculus Quest 2 is finally back on sale in the form of a 128GB version, completely replacing the 64GB one. Not only that, but they haven't changed the price, meaning you get double the storage for the same amazingly low price. But how much of that storage will you actually use? How many games, apps and movies can you install? And should you get the 256GB version over the 128GB version? Well, we're going to answer those questions today. Let's stick around, let's do this. So it's first to note that even though the size of the storage in the Oculus Quest 2 is 128GB and 256GB, you don't get all of that space to use yourself because the system files take up 11.31GB of space. Now, I'm going to just round it up to 12GB just for this video, but that means the usable space in 128GB will be 116GB, and the 256 will have 244GB of usable space. Quick maths. So how much of that storage will you actually use? Well, first we need to find out how big our favorite games and apps are. So the biggest game on the Oculus Quest is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which comes in at a huge 12GB. That means that you could install The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 10 times on the 128GB version and 20 times on the 256GB version. Now, whichever one you look at, that's a lot of games. But yeah, that's not fair because hardly any of the games are even close to that size. Now, according to VR Heaven, the average game size for a Quest 2 game is between 0.5 and 3GB. And to put that into perspective, if you were to fill up each Quest with games of around 3GB, you could fit 38 games onto the 128GB and 76 games onto the 256GB. Once again, that's a lot of games. So to help you get a better understanding, I'm going to share with you 10 games and their respective sizes so you can just see how little space they would take up on a headset. But what about if I watch movies on the Quest? Well, at 1080p, most movies are between 1 and 3GB, and if you're to watch a 3D film, they can range between 10 and 25GB. So it's likely you could run out of space quickly if you were watching loads of films. The verdict. So guys, if you're only going to play games, the 120GB model should be more than enough for what you need. Even if you watch your movie here or there, it is likely you're gonna need any additional storage on top of that, especially when you consider the 256GB, it comes in at an extra £100. You would be better off spending that extra money on games. So is there any reason to get the 256GB version? Well, yes, if you're gonna play loads and loads of movies, they can be quite big and therefore they could fill up your device pretty quickly. Also, maybe if you intend on playing loads of games that you intend to record, like myself, if you're a YouTuber, that could be helpful also. But if you're casually watching movies and casually playing games, there would be no need to go to the 256GB. That being said, lads, has that been helpful? Are you torn between a 120GB and 256GB? Let me know down in the comment section what you chose in the end and why. I'm VRlad. Make sure you join the VR army because I want you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.